Well, good morning, guys, and welcome to the show, Fernando.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Today is part 2 of the Thinkware dash cam installation. That's right, if you're in the market for a dash cam, head over to here, thinkwarestore.com, and you can find yourself a dash cam that will fit your needs. There's a bunch of them to choose from. And if you haven't seen part 1, go back and watch that where we talk about 3 of the options that are available to you. Today, though, we've picked the dash cam that we want, looking at the windshield and coming up with what we think is the best of the 3 options we have available to us. I'll show you which one we picked. So for the Taos install, we're going to go with the Q850, which is this guy right here with this form factor. After looking at our windshield and how the mirror sits on the car and all of the things that, you know, as far as involved putting a dash cam on, this one sits on the windshield what we feel is the best. It gets up on there nice and tight. It'll fit underneath the mirror. The wires will go up the passenger side. And for the most part, you're not even going to know it's there because it's hidden behind the mirror itself, which is good and bad depending on what you're looking for in an installation. If you want to be able to hit all the buttons and stuff like that, you're going to naturally want to bring it down and or go with something that has a bigger footprint that you can easily hit those buttons. But for ours, Fernando's like, no, I want it tucked out of the way. It's there for one thing, to make sure if something happens, it records it. How do we install this? That is what we're going to be doing here today. And the first thing, the most important thing, is how do I power this thing up? In the box for the 850, it comes with this, which is the Hardwire kit. This one requires you to tap into the fuse panel and connect these 3 wires. Yellow for battery, red for accessory, and black for ground. There's also 2 other ways to do it. One of them being the power port adapter here. This will simply plug into your power port and attach up to the dash cam. The third one is kind of a hybrid between the 2, which is this option here, which you can order from Thinkware. This is the OBD2 power cable to Thinkware dash cam. This particular cable gives you the convenience of having a hard wire because it's not taking up your power port and you can snake the wire through the dash out of eyesight, but the convenience of just plugging into a receptacle. In this case, the OBD2 adapter. Let's hop into the vehicle and we show you how all 3 of these are installed, and then you could choose which one best fits your installation. The first installation type we're going to address is the Hardwire kit. In order to do that, you need to locate where your factory fuse distribution panel is at. In the case of this Taos, it's located here to the left of the steering column where your knee would be. The tools you're going to need for this are a digital multimeter. I would not recommend using any form of a test light. This is a modern car. Test lights can do all kinds of bad things. The other thing you may want to do is, if you are going to be going into the fuse box, head over to Amazon where you can pick these up here, which are fuse taps. They come in a couple different configurations depending on the type of fuse that you have. So for example, this one here has narrow long legs, this one has wider long legs, this one here has no legs at all. To see which one you have, go into your fuse box, pull out the fuse, and compare it to the one you're looking at. On Amazon, they do sell just like a variety pack of these, which is what we got. And by looking at our fuses, we see that we're going to need this one here, which is the wider, longer legs. And so for this, we're going to need 2 of them, one for constant 12 volts and one for accessory. Moving into the fuse distribution panel, set your digital multimeter to DC voltage, which is the V with the line and the dashes underneath it. Connect one end of your test lead to ground. In this particular vehicle, there happens to be a really nice metal brace right here that we can attach to. I like to look for open holes in the fuse distribution panel where there are no fuses, but you can still see a copper trace. These 2 located down here in the bottom are where I'm going to start, but as you can see through the panel, there's a bunch of them that are open to me, as well as over here there's a male speaker style clip that we might be able to attach to. There's another one of those up here. Starting there first just makes it a little bit easier than going in and testing fuses. We want to start with the car off because we're testing for 12 volt, and it's usually best to let the car sit for at least 15 to 20 minutes to make sure you're not tapping into a wrap circuit or a retained accessory circuit. And in order to know if you've waited long enough, your dome light should be off when you start doing this testing. The first one up gives me constant 12 volts. the second one also. So right now I know I have two constant 12 volts. I'm gonna try my luck on this little spade terminal over here though, just to see if I get lucky, and I do. I have a constant 12 volts there as well. Now the nice thing about if I can use this one is I won't need to use my fuse taps. I can simply just put a speaker terminal on it and slide into place. There's another one here at the top which also gives me constant 12 volts. I'm gonna continue to test all of these other ones to see which ones don't have 12 volts with the car off. There's a group of them located here. They do not give me any power. There's another one down here in the bottom that also doesn't give me power. I found another constant 12 volts. This one is 12 volts. 12 volt. Oh, this one is not 12 volts. Oh, this one is 12 volts also. Going up to the top here, 12 volts. 12 volts. It seems like these two here in the middle are not. At this point, turn the car on and retest the ones that didn't give us voltage. Testing the first one that was not giving me voltage is now giving me 12 volts. The one next to it is also giving me 12 volts. I'm gonna go back and check the first two that were constant 12 volts to make sure they didn't change or flip-flop once I turn the key on. 12 volts still, 12 volts still. And then my spade terminal also still has 12 volts. This is actually pretty nice. That means I will only need to use one of my fuse taps. There is a specific way that these fuse taps actually need to be plugged in. Let me explain. This is supposed to represent a fuse. This side here is going off to power. So in order for the fuse to blow, you need to come in on this leg with power, the opposite of the wired side. That way the power will come in through here, go across the fuse, and out to this power line. If you connect to this leg, which is closest to the power line, what will happen is you're gonna bypass the fuse. In that case, the fuse will now blow. In the case of these, they have external fuse holders. So either one will work if you're planning on keeping these fuse holders on the line. If you would like to cut them off though, make sure you use the leg that is farthest from your red lead. In this case, I would need to put it up like this because my power source is on the bottom. There is nothing here, but I wanna make sure I'm passing through this fuse because I would like to cut these off. Now, if I don't have an insulated female to plug into the male side sticking out here, I can still use one of my fuse taps, plugging it into the other two that I've found on the bottom here. However, I just so happen to have these, so I can plug that into this terminal to test fit if it will work. The third thing I need to do is ground. Now I am using this frame rail over here, and if I can get a bolt into that, that will work. However, in the kick panel, most cars do have some form of a ground location, and or it's usually easy enough to get a screw put into here. Do not connect it to anywhere on this piece of plastic here, or anything that has plastic and a bolt going through it. It needs to be connected to metal, and that's it. So you should be able to see the whole piece attached to the side of the car. That's important. Let me show you where I plug those two taps into. This guy here is my fuse tap. As you can see, that little piece of copper there, and there's nothing above it. These two were the same. That means my bottom leg is now passing power through the fuse and out through the top. This location here is where I've plugged my terminal into, and over here on the side is where I can possibly get my ground. If you just watched all of that and you thought to yourself, I don't want to do all that, it's no problem. Then you'll want to choose the next stealthiest install, almost like a hardwire, but much easier to do because they've taken care of all the work for you. And that is this guy here using the OBD2 connector. This is just going to plug into the OBD2. Now some of you immediately will say, well, I have one of those cool insurance things that plug in there, or a radio, or a coder, or something like that that is plugging into there. That's not a problem. You can head over to Amazon and pick up one of these guys. This is an OBD2 Y-jack. And what this allows you to do is you keep the same end here that you have, and this is what you can plug in your little insurance reader or whatever you like. This end here is going to plug into your existing OBD2, and then the second end over here you can simply plug your dash cam into, just like this. This will allow you to keep all those devices currently working and add your dash cam. In this particular vehicle, we don't have any of those. Our OBD2 is located right here. Flip it around the right direction and plug it in, and now we can run the wire up to our dash cam. The third option for power is what I like to call the vacationer or the rental car. A lot of people still do it because it's easy and convenient. It's no big deal, and that is the power port adapter, aka the cigarette lighter adapter. This one by far is the easiest. However, it is also the one that doesn't look the best because you're gonna see this cable no matter what. How that is done, locate where your power port is at, flip the door open, and plug it in. The next thing you have to do is snake this wire up to where your camera is located on the windshield. Pick one of those three options providing power to your camera, whichever one fits your level of installation ability.